Hello everybody. So in next 15-20 minutes, we'll go through the complications related to mechanical ventilation and some of the troubleshootings. Now, this is a very vast topic. It is nearly impossible to cover it within 20 minutes. We'll try to touch some of the important points and try to prime the candidates, trying to prime the delegates who are listening to this talk so that they can keep an open eye to pick up these complications. So now if you go back to the past, why ventilator was start using? Because as early as in 1971, Petty and Esberg has identified that there are some cyanosis, there are some hypoxia, which are refractory to oxygen therapy. They try to give supplemental oxygen, but even with increase in supplemental oxygen to the maximum, those patients did not improve. And they identify that it is not only a problem of the oxygenation, and there are some other pathology goes on. So from that, gradually we understand the underlying pathophysiology of ARDS, and we gradually, as we keep on going into the detailed physiology of this lung pathology, lung dysfunction, we understand the concept of baby lung, we understand the concept of non-homogeneity of the lung damage, open lung ventilatory strategy, and sponge theory related to proning. But at the same time, we also understand that if we do not focus, do not set our ventilator properly, sometimes it can backfire and sometimes it can cause further injury to the lung, which is called ventilator-associated or ventilator-induced lung injury. So now if we go back to the ARDS patients, how these patients die. So most of these patients either die because of sepsis, because they are prolonged long time on ventilator, immunocompromised, they're developing some either a VAP or line-related infection, or because of multi-organ failure. Now, probably the hypoxia, which is the main concern while we start ventilating this patient, is not the biggest concern and not the biggest killer in this scenario. And gradually we understand that though the treatment of this patient start with managing their hypoxia, but the bigger challenge is not to injure the already injured lung. And in this scenario, the concept of ventilator-induced lung injury has come. So there are four terminology we all aware of. That is when the patient get exposed to high inflammatory pressure, that is called barotrauma. Barotrauma, exposed to over distension because of high volume, which is volute trauma, repetitive opening and closing of the alveoli called atelectotrauma, and some mechanical transduction related to the above three mentioned damages, which convert into production of cytokines and other chemicals, which released into the blood and causes different systemic effects and systemic inflammatory response syndrome and end organ damage, which is called biotrauma. So whenever we are, and in the initial studies, it's also shown that even the patients who has a high tidal volume and high PEEP shows a better oxygenation. Eventually, those patients has died. And so we identified that not just maintaining oxygenation should be our target, but the bigger target should be to prevent lung injury or avoiding lung injury while ventilating these patients. So in the first, even this is before 2001, the first time the MA2 has identified that while we are ventilating these patients, what are the factors which have a poor outcome in terms of final result or final mortality and morbidity. They found that the Apache 2 score, that is the severity of the sickness of the patient to begin with, the mean PEEP during the first 36 hours, that is how the lungs keep opened, and the driving pressure during the first 36 hours is the three main factors, main prognostic factors. And it shows that if you maintain them properly, they improve survival within first 21 days, a higher rate of weaning from the mechanical ventilation, and a lower rate of barotrauma in patients with an acute respiratory distress syndrome. So probably that as early as in 1998, we have identified that there are factors which are beyond oxygenation, which protect our lung and gives us a better outcome. Though the need for optimal PEEP and the driving pressure was identified nearly 20-25 years back, still the implementation of this driving pressure in our regular practice has done very recently. Now, after that, in 2000, the most popular article, the most famous article of ARDS has come, which is that shows that the low tidal volume compared to a higher tidal volume give a better outcome in ARDS patients. But if you look at the oxygenation status of this patient, you will find that the patient who are having a higher tidal volume, they have a better oxygenation to begin with. So it again proves that oxygenation should not be our target while managing hypoxic respiratory failure patient, rather than it is more important